Welcome to The Prosperous Musician. My name is Spence, and I'm here with a special guest today, Jan Torreson, who is a music supervisor based in Norway. Hello, Jan. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let's, as I always like to do, we can go straight back to the beginning. Just introduce yourself. Just tell me a bit of who you are and how you got into the music business.
My background is, I'm sure it's similar to many other music supervisors, because I'm crazy about music. My background is in the music business, as I started out when I moved to Oslo, because I come from the south of Norway, a little town called Grimstad. But I moved to Oslo to study psychology. Then I applied for a job at Virgin Records. That was a thing back in the early 90s. Started there in 1991 as a product manager. And I was at Virgin Records as a product manager for 10 years. And that was, that was great place to work. Loved it. After 10 years, I was ready to do something different because, 10 years is a long time. And even though I really liked it there, I was ready to do something different, or at least another environment. I read an article in a magazine or a paper, I think, about music supervision. In the beginning of the 2000, that was, music supervision have always been there, but it was something new back then. And I thought that it was very interesting. So I basically quit Virgin and started as music supervisor. Then my company was called Playgroup Music Consulting. Was doing that for 5 years, and then I did 5.5 years in MTV as head of music until 2012. And then I got back to doing the music supervision again. And then I rebranded my company as just music supervision. And that's where we are now.
So were you always, as a musician, you were keen on music, or was it just being in the music business, and how did you sort of get to that point?
I have been a musician as well, only as a hobby. But it's basically, I was really interested in music and, very, very, kind of nerdy on the music. So I thought, why not make it a living? So that's what I did. And you have to be some kind of nerd to do this, because you need to know your music to do it. If you don't, you can't do it, because you can't just start as a music supervisor and not have knowledge about music. You have to have that. That's basically the first thing.
So your first job as a music supervisor, so you read about it. You read about it in a paper or an article or something, and you thought,
yep,
this sounds like the kind of job that
exactly
really excites me, and I really want to get into this.
Yeah.
And this was kind of the early 2000s, you said, where it wasn't as much of a thing as it is now.
No, it wasn't.
How did you get the job then? Did you just look for jobs advertised, or did you just
No, I just started, visiting, just take the rounds on the production companies and all that. I just took the round and just introduced myself as and then, oh, wow, yeah, is this a thing? We really need your help. So, because back then it was, still a new thing, and, people didn't know that much about it. And also the clearance of rights, and that at least you have to pay for music. There were a lot of that. And I think my first assignment was for McDonald's, and I cleared That's the Way I Like It. Of course, with Casey and the Sunshine Band. That was my first job.
Wow.
And I just rolled from there. And
so was that decision yours then? Was it like, okay, this is the song we're going to use for this commercial, and I'm going to clear it, or was it like, this is the song we want, Jans, can you clear this?
No, I did. I chose the song. Proposed this and this. I mean, it was easier back then. Today that would be, it's been used. This has been used. You can't use it any longer. But back then, it was fine, and it was easier. Because okay, that's the way I like it. Of course, McDonald's. But back then, it was also a little bit not necessarily so easy to clear, because, well, when it comes to Casey and the Sunshine Band, it was no problem because it's so commercial. But if you had other artists that didn't want to be connected with, you know, selling out and all that, so, but today it's fine, you know, it's not considered selling out to have a song in a commercial any longer, but back then it was. So
that's interesting, and maybe we can get into that a little bit more as we go on. But what I want to know is, as the prosperous musician, we like to know about the nuts and bolts and the kind of reality of these deals, how they go down. So talk us through how you clear, what is clearance, and how do you clear a track, and what kind of money is involved in your first job at Casey the Sunshine.
When it comes to clearing, you have to remember two things, and that's basically that's very important. It's the master rights, and that's with the company, the record label. You have to clear with the label, and then you have to clear the publishing rights, and that's with the publisher, of course, or the composer. And if you don't get the other one, you can't use it. Or you can clear the publishing and make a cover. If you are allowed, you have to ask for permission, of course.
And who do you ask for permission? It's the publisher, isn't it?
So you have to ask the publisher. Is it fine that we do a cover of this song and use it, and then, you know, take it from there? Sometimes I remember we wanted to use do a cover of Hello with Lionel Richie, and that was, yeah, you can do a cover with you can do a cover, but it can't sound like, you can't make it sound like Lionel Richie. You have to make another version of it. So that's also a thing to consider, because basically we were thinking, let's just make a cover version and make it, but we couldn't. So we had to clear the whole song. But that's fine.
So in that case then, when you said you had to clear the whole song...
I mean master and publishing.
Okay, and then you could do the cover?
No, you just have to do...
you just got the song...
Have to clear the publishing. And because you need the rights to the composition,
yeah.
You know? And then you can do a cover if you are allowed to. You're not necessarily allowed to do a cover even though you have secured the publishing right.
So what would be the difference then? Let's just go back to the money side of things for Casey and the Sunshine Band then. So in those days, so how much would you have to pay to get that kind of song?
Maybe 250,000 Norwegian kroners for 1 year buyout.
Wow, for 1 year.
Yeah, and that's not that much, you know. And remember, this is 2001. Today, it will be doubled, at least 500,000, I believe. Okay, so, you know, it all depends on what profile you have as an artist, or also the song is big and all that, you know. You know, if the song is big, you have to pay for it. You know, that's as easy as that. But on the other hand, I remember I was doing another commercial for McDonald's, and then I was trying to clear a American rock indie thing band, and they wanted 1 million kroners. And that's fair, because as they said, yeah, we'll be happy to license the song, but we want 1 million kroners. And it is McDonald's, and they have the money. And that's fair, it's fair, but of course they didn't, because it's a lot of money. But I understand the thinking, because you want to get paid for your song, and you know, when the company is as big as McDonald's, well, it's fine, you know. I don't think it's. And when I got back to McDonald's, you know, they said no, we can't do that. Okay, but I explained it for them, or to them, and yeah, we understand that too, but we're not willing to pay 1 million kroner for a total unknown song. And okay, so it's, you know, it's that. Yeah,
and just to explain that, if you're watching in the UK or the US, then 1 million kroner, it sounds a lot of money, and it is, but also in the UK, that's probably about between 90 and 100,000 pounds, something like that.
Yeah.
About $80,000, something like that.
Yeah.
So still a lot of money, but not as much as £1 million.
No.
How does a new artist break into film and TV?
I get at least 10, 20 mails per week from various pitchers and also artists, you know. So, and just keep it simple and not too much information, but just the basics, and not many songs, not 20 songs. You don't need that. You need 2 or 3 the best songs, and that's it, basically. And not too eager, because you should be eager, but not too, because then it's just irritating.
So what kind of frequency is good for you?
Yeah, if I have the time, I listen to it, but sometimes if I listen to it and I don't, this is not interesting for me, I don't answer, and then it's fine, because I'm just checking in, and maybe once a week. That's it. That's fine. That's all right. But not too. Just check in. No more. You don't have to send more songs. If you don't get feedback on the first batch of songs, you don't send more songs. You just ask for what's happening here, and then you leave it. If you don't get any answer, that's just because it's not interesting right there. So that's basically it.
And so if the kind of artists you work with, like new artists, do you just work with a few people, or are you always just open to whatever comes through, or do you just sort of find people who you can work with and stick with them, or?
It depends on the project, of course. What kind of music are you after? Are you looking for a hit? Then I just use when I do music searches, it basically depends on the project. So if I'm looking for something, special, I might look through my files. If they need some kind of profile song, a hit song or something, then I just use Spotify. It depends on the project.
So how many kind of projects do you have at any one time? Is it one project at a time, or do you have several projects on the go?
It depends. Today I'm doing some work for a new commercial, for a car commercial. I won't say what car. I'm just trying to find the quote on a couple of songs, because then they have the songs ready, and we need you to find out how much this is. What's the fee on these? So, but it really depends on. Sometimes there can be a month where it's one project, and there can be a month where there's 5 projects. It depends. Norway is quite small, but there's some competition between us here. So
how many supervisors are there in Norway then?
Oh, I can't tell, but there's enough. When I started, there was only me. And there was this guy from Denmark called Jesper Gladberg. You probably heard about him. He's very profiled. I read about Jesper, and he did all the work for Norway, because there were no music supervisors in Norway. So Jesper, he did everything here. Because when I started investigating who is doing that, who did that for you, and who did that, that's Jesper. But he's from Denmark. But he's the only one. so that's but now there's a lot of us, and that's fine.
How long were you the only supervisor for?
Maybe a couple of years, and then when I went back to do the work for MTV, and when I came back it was a lot. Then I understood that I really have to work to get some business coming in.
And what was it that you were doing for MTV?
Head of music, because MTV started when I started at MTV 2005, 2006. Around that time they wanted to branch out to have basically for Norway and for Sweden and for Denmark. They didn't have that before. It was just central. It was for Norway, MTV Norway. So, and then when I stopped, they decentralized it again. That doesn't exist any longer, like MTV Norway or MTV Sweden. That is no more. And then, as we all know, no music on MTV. any longer, or you have to buy you know, special packages, MTV Dance, MTV Rock, you know, that kind of stuff.
So what does kind of an average day look like for you as a music supervisor?
I always start the day with, you know, listening to new music. That's very important, you know. You have to keep up with what's happening, and so I always use at least 2 or 3 hours a day listening to new music. And lately it's been a lot of rights clearance for me, not as much synchronization, you know, finding music. A lot of music clearances, and that is a lot of paperwork. So, and that takes a lot of time. So, you know, I have 2 or 3 clearances right now doing so, and that's just a lot of paperwork, contract, and that's the boring stuff, but you have to do it because it's really important. Yeah, basically that's my day.
And do you notice the way you get the work then? So would it be like advertising agencies and film production companies, they come to you and say, look, Jan, so we've got this is film we've got going on, can you do this for this and this advert? So is it like that? Yeah. They approach you, or are you approaching them?
Yeah, because I've been in this business for so long, they know about me. So I don't really have to, you know, reach out the way I had to in the beginning. But basically I get a request from them, and can you help me? Can you do a music search for this? And can you clear this for us? And yeah, that's how it works now. But you know, there is nothing wrong with being on the phone as well, because you know there are other music supervisors. So you know, sometimes I just have take a day just to check in and say hello, and you know that's important too. So
will there be any, let's say for example, the project you've got going on now with this with the car company, they give you a brief, I'd imagine, saying we want this kind of tempo to sound a bit like this, and maybe they show you the advert. Would you go to like somebody, like a songwriter or a composer that you've used many times before and say, look, what have you got for this? Or would you just go, I'm just going to go and just search for something completely new? If they say, we have this and that, you know, you can use on music, you know, we have, you don't have the money to buy songs. So you go to a composer that can do it for that kind of money. Or you can go to libraries now. You know, when I started out, it was awful. But now there's some really good stuff there and it's kind of a budget thing. But I sometimes use library music because it's the quality is very good now. It wasn't when I started. I remember it was awful. But now it's good. So what's the kind of average, I guess every project's different, but if you have to average it out, what's the kind of average budget now for a song? About 200,000 Norwegian kroners. Yeah, which is about between 20 and 25,000 pounds. Yeah. More or less. Yeah. Okay, that's good. What would be the process then? How quickly would that artist be paid for that song, or how quickly would that song be taken and cleared and used and the check cleared? Well, then again, it depends on the artist or the availability of the artist to clear a song. If it's a big song, the clearance usually go fast because it's been cleared, you know, for a lot of projects. So it's in the system. So it's all right. But sometimes, you know, you just have to, also if I work with a Norwegian artist, it can take a day or two. You know, just a couple of phone calls, and you know, because I have been in this business for so long, so I know exactly who to talk to and how to, you know, get a quick response. Usually it takes a week. It all depends on the artist, on the label, on the publisher. Did clearance job for Vy, which is the national train company, and I cleared the tokens, the Lion Sleeps Tonight. That was a long process, because then I had to reach out to the estate, because the people behind it is dead. So that took me by surprise, because you have a deadline, but it was very difficult to get hold of them. So, you know, it took about 3 weeks or something. But that happens with old songs like the tokens. That can happen. So, you know. Well, are you noticing any trends in music that's being used in things now, or is it just literally anything goes?
I can't pinpoint any trends. I'm sorry, no. I can't say I can't, no.
Well, let's go back to what we were talking about before about if you were a new artist and you were sort of trying to break into film and TV. So we've kind of discussed about like frequency of calling. So you're sending some songs through, you calling to check in. What kind of format do you need your songs in? Do you need like different lengths and versions of them, or just one song will do?
It's always nice to have an instrumental, and but I'd like to have the whole song, because sometimes you just need the start, and then sometimes you just need some various parts of the song. So it's very important to hear the song as a whole. But sometimes it's useful to have an instrumental version. That's yeah, I've learned that.
And is it mainly Norwegian artists that you work with, or is it just across the board?
Across the board. I prefer to work with Norwegian artists because it's so much easier. It's more hands-on, because they're right here. So I prefer to do that.
What's your kind of favorite part of the job?
Of course, it's the music search. Of course, because the right clearance it has to be done, but it's not a lot of hassle. You get used to that too. But it's all the paperwork. But it's got to be done. So, but of course, the music search is always the most interesting part, obviously. So
What's the kind of project that you may be most proud of?
It's way back, and it's I did Somewhere Over the Rainbow with this Hawaiian artist. Do you remember this guy? I don't remember his name right now. And I placed that in a song for, it was for a lotto, a national lottery. And it was about 10-15 years. But that's the best we've done. I think we've won some prizes for that. It's such a long time ago now, but it's a great clip. And also some more work I did for McDonald's again, where I placed Ronald Keating. It's been used a lot. The ballad. It was some kind of puppet show thing. It was beautiful.
When you say nothing at all, is it that?
Yeah, that's the song. Yeah, exactly. It's been used a lot, but it was not been used in commercial that much when I did it. It's about 5 years ago, I think. I remember that because it felt good, felt right. It was really good. It's a great song, and if it's used in the right connection, it works. It really works, It's sometimes like that too. When you say, okay, sometimes you say, okay, that song has been used a lot, but you have to put it in the context too, because it doesn't matter if you're Happy Together with the Turtles. It's been used a lot, but it doesn't matter, because you have to put it in the right context, and if it works in that context, it still works.
So you mentioned that Happy Together. So is there any other songs that just keep getting used and used again and again?
Yeah, that song.
just that one.
No, it's a good question, but I can't remember on the top of my head. But there are songs that in the same thing as On the Road Again, when you see people driving, and stuff like that.
So has there been any situations where you've like got in touch with a big artist and they say like, we want to use this song, and they've just they've said no because of like political reasons or like personal reasons? Or...
Yes, I have. I tried to clear a song for a Norwegian oil company called Equinox, I think, and it was that Icelandic band it wasn't an Icelandic band, a quite big one, and they said no because we don't want to be connected to them. And fine, that's all I can remember. I had a no one, and I was ashamed because it was a great clip and the song was beautiful and everybody was, yeah, this is so good. And then, sorry guys, they say no. So, but it happens because, and same thing with Morrissey would never license a song to McDonald's, for example. You know, stuff like that.
You said at the beginning about people selling out, or seen to be selling out, but now it's not seen as selling out to say to put your music to an advert or something. So do you find that's kind of easier now then? So people are more likely to say, yeah, of course.
A lot more easier, because back then you had the song and you had, you know, it looks perfect, everything's cool, and then it's a no. So you have to start all over again, you know, because this is so beautiful and it works on all. You can have Bob Dylan now, you know. Back then you couldn't. I think,
Oh, it's because he sold his publishing rights now, isn't it? So.
Yeah, I saw that. You know, all the big artists are doing that now, and then they sign. Then the publisher buy the rights to sell them. So now it's easier because you know they want to sell them. You know, you just have to have the right price or the quote on them. So it's no problem. But I think, you know, artists like Neil Young, he will never license a song to a commercial. You know, but he's one of the few.
And maybe that's because obviously like record sales down and we've had COVID and people can't tour anymore. So
yeah, exactly.
Artists are cashing in another way because they can't make money yet.
No, that side of the business is booming, you know, because of that. The streaming business have, you know, it's good for some artists, but it's bad for others. And now the artist that it's bad for is sync is a lot of money for them. So I understand that, of course.
So because there's a lot more artists doing it now, and there's a lot more need, maybe there's a lot more demand for music and a lot more people to do. So are the budgets gone up or down, or?
I have a music budget I work from, and then they said we want that and that, and I said this is my music budget, you can take it or leave it. You have to do that, and sometimes they said no, we can't do that. So that's fine, then we have to just move on to another. But I find that the music budget is there is a higher understanding of what music costs now, that it is a cost. You have to consider that it is a cost, because before it was just, why should we pay that kind of money for that song? People behind the projects often didn't understand why you had to pay that kind of money for that song. But now people understand it more. You know, there's a higher understanding of what music costs, that you have to pay for it. That's a good thing.
So as a music supervisor then, let's say you're a music supervisor wanting to get into the business of being a music supervisor, what would they expect? What's their percentage, or how do you as a music supervisor get paid?
Sometimes I get a cut from the total budget, or sometimes I just have a fixed fee. It depends on how they want to pay me, you know.
Do you have any advice for people who are getting into business, either as first of all, as an artist, how to get their works into film and TV?
You know, the thing is with getting your music out there is a difficult task, because there's a lot of music out there. But I would recommend artists, or you know, to go on. If there is some in Norway, we have something called Bylarm, where the whole business meets and have seminars and stuff. You know, that is important, where you can meet people face to face. That is a great way to reach out, because you know, to call and you just get drowned out, you know, in all the information. But if you have the opportunity to meet with supervisors face to face, that is the definitely best way to get in touch with a music supervisor. So that's my advice. You know, try to meet in a right connection with supervisors and face to face. That's basically the best way to make a connection. And you know, to get in as a music supervisor, well, then you have to have the skills You have to know how to clear a track. You have to know your music, and then you just have to get on the phone. So
how would you get those skills? Would it be like working for a publisher or something, or would you?
Yeah.
How would you get? Yeah.
I got my skills from working in Virgin Records, and you pick up on things. That is that, and that is that. So okay, I didn't realize that. Well, that's how it is. So you have to know how to, but you need your music knowledge too. You don't have that, you can't be a music supervisor.
When you say knowledge, you mean like a history of music and like a depth of knowledge?
It helps, because when people reach out and they ask me, can you help us? We need a song that's that and that and that. And sometimes they say, we love that song, but can you find something similar? Because that song has been used, and maybe that's an old song, Only You with the Platters. We love that song, but it's been used. Can you find something similar? Then you really need your knowledge in music, and you need to know your history. You need to know who is the Platters? You can't say that. You need to know who the Platters are. Well, it helps anyway. So yeah, I would say it's good to have that background in history too. It is.
Yeah, and I guess you'd be great in a pub quiz as well.
No, I'm awful because I don't remember when people ask me. Can't remember. No way.
What's your kind of bag in terms of music wise? What do you enjoy listening to?
Well, I am a DJ as well sometimes, and I am a soul DJ. So that's my kind of music. Soul, funk. I've always been into that. I had my own program on national radio actually in 5 years, where I only played funk and soul. So I did that too, And that's, when you have music as a living, I never listen to music. I have one evening per week where I just sit down and listen to my music, because that's the downside with it, because you get sometimes you just get fed up, because music is work. So you get that connection with it, and that's a downside. But I have one day a week where I just listen to music with no work connections, and that's so.
So has there ever been a time where you've been able to place one of your favorite songs in one of your personal favorites in a...
No, I don't think it's ever happened. No, I can't think of that. No, I don't think that ever happened, but it will.
Do you work primarily with film and TV, or is it like anything, any project goes, like video games or adverts?
I've been doing some motion pictures or some films, but it's a long time ago. But I basically work with ads, and I'm fine with that. Maybe there will be there's a lot of TV series coming now, so I think I will try to move into that market. But I haven't, I know there's people that have taken over that market as music supervisors, so I will. That is my goal now, to maybe move in on TV series, but I haven't got that far. So no, it's ads basically.
And if somebody was watching this as a musician and they wanted to send you some music, they think they've got some great stuff, right? Please don't.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, reach out. Doesn't cost you anything, but I can't guarantee an answer. But of course, no problem. I'll be happy to receive music.
And what's the best way to approach you?
Just send me an email.
So I can include your email in the comments in the section down below.
No problem.
And yeah, thanks again for your time, Jan. It's been a pleasure speaking to you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
Be prosperous.
You too. Thank you.